We have the opportunity to talk to Wilson about their new two golf balls. It's the Stuff Model and the Stuff Model R. And what's it's all about, we have Frank Simonutti from Wilson there, and he will talk us through the different golf balls. First of all, it's an innovation. It's something completely new, never been there. The raw ball. How did you come up with this idea? What's it all about?
The raw ball actually is all about, we had a meeting among the innovation group for golf, and the goal with Staff Model is to make the best performing balls possible, regardless of cost, content, anything else. Just what can you do to make the best balls possible? The most inconsistent part of a golf ball is the coating. So the coating on a golf ball, on a urethane golf ball, there's generally 3 coats of paint if it's painted. There's multiple layers of coating if it's applied a different way. And it's roughly 250 milligrams, which is, out of a 45-gram ball is a pretty decent amount. If that paint coating or the coating is applied inconsistently around the ball, you can fill some of the dimples more than others. That'll make the ball drift offline. It affects the aerodynamics. We just thought the easiest way to fix it was we'll take the paint off.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. So, and we tested it, and it's been tremendous. It really works. So it gives you straighter flight. It doesn't affect the spin of the ball. So if you're trying to draw or fade the ball, the paint coming off of it does not affect that, but it will make the ball fly truer and not drift because of any inconsistent aerodynamics due to the coating.
Mm-hmm. You just mentioned the spin of it. Since there is no coating, we know it, for example, from the FG Tour Raw wedge from Wilson, which is raw too, that there's a little tiny bit more of grip. Is it the same with the golf balls?
Yes, we do see that with the golf balls because of the higher coefficient of friction, same as with the wedges. It doesn't show up on a driver because there's no loft particularly on a driver. You're hitting right into it. But as you get to your irons, 5-iron, 7-iron, 9-iron wedges, you generally see a 2 to 3% increase in spin rate, which is active control around the green.
Yeah. So this is one of the differences between both models. But what they have in common is the typical building. They both feature, for example, the V-core. What's this? What's special with that?
The V-core, and this goes back to Staff Model and doing everything we can to get the best performance possible. V-core, we put a velocity boosting additive into the core to get our velocity up. And we are getting as close to the USGA and RNA limits for initial velocity. Obviously, we don't want to fail, but we do want to get as close as possible, being comfortable. And that's what really the V-core does. It allows us to boost the ball velocity in the core, which will affect the velocity of the overall construction.
Mm-hmm. Wilson is really famous for their soft golf balls, especially this year with the launch of the new Duo Soft Plus. And but those Stuff models, they have a completely different target group. They are made for the excellent golfers, for the low handicappers, and even for the pros, aren't they?
Yes, they are made. Generally speaking, we find that the professional players, they want the purest performance possible. They're not worried about the feel. They want the ball to do exactly what they want when they want. So the Staff Model balls, both of them they're the same construction, except for the paint. And they are about a 97 to 98 compression. They're 4-layer golf balls. Yeah, very firm. They're at the firmer end of the urethane competitive set. And they have been very well received from a feel point of view. We have tested with a number of professionals. We're still working with some to have them play the ball on tour next year. And all the feedback on the ball is it feels right for this category of golfer.
And you already mentioned the tour pros. Are there already names committed to the ball? And are they more leaning towards the raw version or the one with the painting?
Okay, we have tested. We have one player in Europe signed right now, along with a number of Euro Tour players. We are currently negotiating with 2 other European Tour players and 2 US Tour players. I can't really name them because they're under contract for other companies. We are hopeful that we will sign them. All of them would be nice, but we will have this ball on tour in both the US and in Europe.
And are they more leaning towards the raw version or the normal one?
I think on the European side that they're leaning more toward the conventional finish because it is unique. And I think players, it's very difficult to get them into a new concept. In the US, it's looking a bit the other way. It looks like we will get the R ball potentially on tour. And the R ball, it's always difficult when you come up with a new concept and it's something the players have never seen before.
Yeah.
You're going to need to prove it to them. And with the current virus situation around the world, we haven't really been able to get out. We were out with one of our players in the US before everything shut down. And it was amazing the stuff he could do with the R ball as compared with the painted ball, and certainly compared to his control, his current ball. But I believe the R ball will do very well. I think it will be accepted at some point when people have more of a chance to play it and try it out.
So you need just a little bit out of this curiosity. How will this perform? You have to give the new raw model a chance.
Absolutely. And it really comes down to when we were testing, let's say you're hitting a 5-iron into the green. And we went out and we tested the worst, we looked at our competitors to see the balls that had the worst coatings. We know not every ball is going to be bad, but it doesn't matter about every ball. If you're in a tournament and you're trying to win, you care about the one ball you're playing. So we went out and looked for balls that were particularly bad on coating. On a 5-iron shot, 200-yard 5-iron, which is the better players in the professional, you see a drift of maybe a yard to a yard and a half each way with the Staff Model R. The Staff Model ball, which we do take very good paint controls, probably about a 4-yard drift, left to right, 5-yard drift. Balls have a range of could drift as much as 7 yards left or 7 yards right if the paint isn't oriented correct. All you need to do, have you ever hit a ball that you know you hit right and it didn't really get up to it was good? Okay, well, I know that certain balls I hit are not going anywhere near where they're supposed to. But I know everybody's done it. You hit a ball that you know you hit it exactly the way you wanted to. And somehow it ends up offline. It sort of drifts, and you can see it in the flight of the ball. That's what the R ball is meant to correct. Now, there are a couple manufacturers out there that do a very good job in coating the balls, and the balls they do not drift terribly. There are some manufacturers that, I'll be quite honest, are terrible. I mean, there are some really bad balls, and I really don't want to go into it on video, but if anybody wants to look at it for themselves, get a black light flashlight or a little UV light flashlight, go into a store and shine the flashlight on the balls. You'll see that the UV light will be reflected bright where the paint is, and it won't have any reflection at all where there's no paint or no coating. So you can actually look at the ball and see how much of a difference there is in the coating. And this is an easy way to look. And it's a great way, certainly if you're trying to show the Staff Model R ball, it's the best way to do it.
That sounds like a cool test everybody can do. And going back to the construction side of the ball, we talked about the V-core, but the balls are a 4-piece construction. What are the other layers about?
Okay, the inner core layer, or the outer core layer, inner cover layer, the second layer of the ball, is made of a DuPont HPF material, which is a soft, high-velocity plastic that we've been using in golf balls for years for mantle materials. What this ball does is it maintains the velocity as compared to a softer plastic, but it gives you, on higher impact shots, particularly off the driver, keeps your spin rate down because you don't want an overly high spin rate off the driver. The outer or the inner cover layer, the third layer out, the outer mantle, inner cover, however you want to describe it, is made from a very hard Surlyn material. The idea there is to get the velocity. Again, it's about velocity with that. And it's also about having a hard layer under your soft urethane cover that allows on slower swing speed shots when the inner layers are taken out of play that you maximize your spin performance. And then the outer cover is the cast urethane cover. It's roughly, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this in English units, 25 thousandths of an inch thick. I think it's 1 centimeter. Is that right? Either way, I'm.
one centimeter is like
no, that's 40 thousandths of an inch, so it's less than a centimeter. It's about 0.6 centimeters thick.
Mm-hmm.
And what this does, you have the thin urethane cover, and on your iron shots, when you need the spin, the hard outer layer and the hard inner cover layer and the very soft urethane, this allows on the impact for the urethane to pinch, but not necessarily for the ball to deform greatly, and that maximizes your spin.
So you have a longer.
Sorry, that was not the smoothest I've ever done, but.
So you have a better like contact in the short game where the spin is important, but if you have those high velocity shots, driver, fairway wood, then the inner core can use its power and lower spin and harder and more velocity. Yes, well, the velocity is there regardless, but what it does is you don't want a high amount of spin off your driver and fairway woods. You want enough to be able to work the ball, but you don't want it such, and I'm sure you've seen balls, if you have too much spin, they balloon, yes. So, and obviously you don't want that to happen, but you do want enough spin to be able to work the ball. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So, to sum it up about the ball, who would you recommend this ball? Who should try it out, and who is the target group? This ball is designed for the best players out there. In our competitive testing, and I know everybody's going to say they're the longest ball, we say we're the longest ball. We also say we're the highest velocity ball, which is easily tested. And we are the highest velocity ball off the club face. And every tour player, every professional we've tested with, that's the first thing they say. Wow, this ball is fast compared to our current ball. I believe one of the players who tested it asked, is this legal? Yes, it's legal, but it is getting more velocity, and it is a tremendously fast ball, and it's going to spin as much or more off the irons than any ball out there. And then, of course, if you want the little bit of extra confidence and a little bit of extra spin rate that you're going to get around the greens, the R ball will give you all that distance and velocity and a little extra spin. Perfect. Then that's about the ball. And now we come to our surprise questions, which are always questions about you as a person, as a golfer. So our audience gets to know you a little better. And our icebreaker question is always, if you could build up your dream foursome, you can play with anyone, could be a celebrity, a pro golfer, whoever. Doesn't have to be a golfer. You are allowed to choose. Which 3 people would you choose and why? Okay, living or ever? Ever. Could be anybody. Wow. Let me see. Probably Frank Sinatra, just because it would be interesting. Mm-hmm. I would say, let me see. I'm trying to think. I'm sorry. This is always a tough question. And so maybe Frank Sinatra can come up with a cool golf song for us. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's a matter of who would have the best stories. So, and I would actually, Arnold Palmer would be awesome because I'm sure he would have a ton of stories. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind playing with some of the pros that have been in the U.S. lately. Not golf pros, but Peyton Manning or some of the other players that have been playing in these tournaments lately or in these events with Tiger or with Phil Mickelson. They were always fun to watch, yeah. Yeah, it's something fun. That's the important thing. Mm-hmm. Then now you are on the course in your dream foursome. Which club do you prefer to use, the driver or the putter? The putter. Then I'm much better with a putter than I am with a driver. Then if you're facing a tricky shot, do you attack it or do you lay up?
Depends on the type of tricky shot, to be honest. If it's a distance question, if there's any hope of making it, I usually will go and try and clear rather than lay up. If you're talking about a very difficult pin placement, I'm usually more conservative. I just want to be putting.
So place it on the center of the green, 2 putts par next hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then what would be your starting time? Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise. I'm an early golfer.
Which is your favorite sports besides golf?
Baseball.
Baseball. What is your favorite team?
New York Mets, which means I don't necessarily root for good teams.
Yeah, yeah. They were facing big troubles in the last year.
Last number of years. It's been a long time.
Been a long time. Yeah, but maybe with the new player format, they might. There's 1 or 2 spots more. Maybe they get in once. Yeah, and then which would be your desired golf course? Where do you want to play then?
I would love to play Augusta.
Okay. Yeah, then thank you very much for your time and for the interview. And we are pretty sure that our readers have a good point of view of who you are and about the new staff model and staff model R, which it's all about for the next season in the golf ball range.
Great. Thank you very much.